It has now been 1 year with the RENPHO AI Smart Bike, and I'm here to show you why I think you should go ahead and look into this bike for your home gym. For those who don't know, the RENPHO AI Smart Bike is a spin-based bike that you use at home, but uses magnetic resistance to automatically adjust your workout to fit the proper resistance for the workout you are trying to accomplish. It's really nothing more than that, but here are the reasons I went ahead and bought this one versus others that you might find on the market today. So for me, it really comes down to 4 reasons why I bought this bike over other options. The first one being that there is no additional monthly memberships for the app included with this bike. So you pay for the bike once up front, and that is it for a lifetime. They have not yet added on anything membership wise. All the app is free for you right out of the box. Also, the bike uses digital resistance. So this is what makes it quote unquote a smart bike, in that it can automatically adjust the resistance of the bike to simulate you doing something like going up or down a hill, you changing the gears on the bike, or if it's just something where you're going through like maybe intervals in a workout and making it easy and harder as you complete that workout session. So also, this bike is less than $1,000, and this is very hard, especially in the smart bike category, to find on the market today. So why this is great is that this bike actually, as of looking on Amazon and on RENPHO right now, the bike is selling for $500, which is quite a bit less than even I bought it for on the day one launch. And lastly, the bike doesn't take up too much space. So in my old apartment, I now live in a house, but in the old apartment, it fit in a tiny closet. I unfortunately can't fit it in the current house I have, as it's just a sliding door that's in front of my closet, so there's definitely not enough room there. But if you have a smaller door-based closet, it will probably fit in there for you. So for the unboxing, you really just get the RENPHO bike itself. There's not much else to it, but I did do a full unboxing video and first impressions. If you'd like to take a look at it, make sure you click the link in the description below. But I'm going to move on to the rest of the bike from here. So looking at some specs of the bike, I weigh it in at 88 pounds, with dimensions coming in at 49 inches long, 20 inches wide, and 40 inches high. The max weight allowed on this bike, according to the RENPHO FAQ page, is 265 pounds. I think before it was listed at 270, but recently has dropped down to 265. You can also change the height of the handlebars as well as the seat. So there's many other videos that can show you what the proper height of the handlebars and seat are, so make sure to check out one of those before hopping onto the bike, so that is calibrated to whatever your current height is. Now included is the AI Gym app. So this is an app on your smartphone that connects to the bike through Bluetooth. It was very easy to set up, did it in a few minutes. Set up a new account just for myself. Just know anyone can connect to this bike. They just need to make sure the previous person disconnects their Bluetooth. But you each have individual accounts on your own RENPHO app on your phone that you use to track your workouts from there. And lastly, the bike must be plugged into a wall outlet in order to be used. It is not battery powered in any way, so make sure you have some kind of wall outlet nearby that you can power on the bike to use it. So before we move to my pros and cons, I want to cover one more thing, and that is that this bike can hook up to other third-party apps like Zwift. So when you hook it up, the bike will connect to the following 3 items. First off, it'll connect to power, cadence, and your controllable. I'm not really sure what controllable means, but those 3 will hook up as well. And if you have other sensors, like a heart rate or something else you can hook up, you can do that. But those are the 3 it's going to take from the bike and put in the app to track your progress. So with that, it is time for our pros and cons list, starting with the pros. My first pro is that it is a great price for a smart bike. You are going to be lucky to see a smart-based bike under $1,000. It's very hard to find, especially a good one like this. So I think this is perfectly priced for those who want to just really enjoy getting in some kind of spin biking from the comfort of home. Also, the bike takes up very little space. Again, this fit in a tiny closet I had in my old apartment, and it's really just sitting in the very far corner of my office space, taking up very little room and not really getting in the way at all. So again, very minimal in total size, but very sturdy overall for a spin bike. A big pro as to why I looked at a smart bike like this one, instead of using like the standard spin dial ones that you'd see in like a gym setting, is that it gives you a number-based value back to you to let you kind of know what the resistance is that you're using. So previous bike I had, the Osuda indoor spin bike, was that spin dial, but I always ran into the issue of I didn't know how far or how hard I was turning it before I just couldn't pedal anymore. I never really knew that value to like progressive overload and get better over time. So with this one, it actually gives me a number value back. So for many of my races, especially that 1 mile one I do a lot, I actually set the gear of the bike. So usually I start out at around 8 and it'll drop to 7. Try and keep that as long as I can. Go 6 at the really hard parts, then back up to 7 to about finish out that race. But without knowing that, I wouldn't know what values those were. So I'd just be spinning and guessing at where I'd be in terms of how hard and what my wattage per spin of the bike would be in those races. So this bike uses something a little different than the other spin bikes in that it does use magnetic resistance. This is a bit of a different feel, and some people tend to not like it at first. For me, I liked it right out of the bat, but I know many others have commented and say they don't really like the feel of it overall until they've used it a few times, where then they get used to it and they're like, oh, this is just as hard as a regular bike. Because when you jump on it the first time, I can actually pedal the bike at the hardest setting, where there's no way I could pedal the hardest setting for my old Yosuda bike, because once I spin it too far, like just how that was clamped down on the wheel, there's just no way I was spinning it. But for this one, I can pedal the entire time, making sprinting, it's not awkward, you can still sprint on the bike, but it's not as good, I think, as like a normal spin dial. But just know, I just sit on it the entire time, and that is enough strain on my legs for my entire workout. But just know, you probably can get to a point where you are sprinting and standing. It just feels a little bit more awkward than a standard spin bike. Another big pro is that just starting out, there's no membership at all, as I covered before, and there's a ton of stuff that comes, again, for free on the AI Gym app. I'm very thankful that RENPHO put this together and don't have any additional membership. They could definitely charge one for what they're delivering here in terms of the app, but they gave it to you all for free just for purchasing the bike, and I think that is very awesome. And lastly, the bike doesn't make a lot of noise. It does have a low humming, especially when you're just doing normal biking on it. If you get into like a sprinting thing, you will get that humming a bit louder, but nothing that's gonna like wake up someone next door or whatnot. No one's gonna hear you outside biking. Maybe if you were right next to the door, you could hear them, or you had the door open, someone's just in the next room. But if it's like door closed and you're by yourself, no one's gonna really hear you biking in here. So that was a big plus for me buying this one as well. So now with that, let's jump into my cons list. So my first con is that it is not the best looking bike in the world. I really like the other spin bike looks much more than this one. It's not really sporty or anything. Kind of looks like maybe your grandmother's old spin bike they used to have way back in the day, and they just made it into like a cool AI smart bike. But I still think it does the job very, very well and gets me all the results I need, so I'll pass on the looks here. Next up, it is very heavy to pick up and move around. Now it does come with wheels, so you can wheel it around, which makes it pretty easy to get from point A to B. But if you ever have to like pick it up off the ground, so maybe you're putting it into a truck to move it or something, it is very, very heavy and bulky, awkward to pick up. So just know, it is not the lightest product in the world. Many of these spin bikes aren't, but just know this one is just like those and is also very heavy. And lastly, and this is just a very minor con that I have, is that there's no water bottle included with mine at least. I don't know if they changed it since I bought it, but mine came with no water bottle. I went to Walmart and bought a Velcro based one to put around it, as it doesn't really have a standard handle you buy for like a bike. So it's like a nice Velcro handle, and I have one now that I use with it. But as I only bike for like 3 minutes max anyway, I don't really need it. But just know that if you want one, you can go buy one from Walmart. I also link to the specific one I use for this bike in the description below. So with all that I've covered in this video, what are my thoughts on the RENPHO AI Smart Bike after using it for 1 year? To me, I'm really blown away by this product. Since day one, I liked it. There were some, again, minor cons, but for the price and it having no additional membership, this is what I was looking for. It still works perfectly to this day. There was one hiccup where there's an issue with it connecting, but they did a patch for it and all works good. They have actually come out and released additional races and bike rides that you can do since day one, so a little over a year. Not too many new ones have come out, but there are some additional bike rides and updates that have launched since day one. So over the past year, I have found that I use the bike actually less, but for things I enjoy more. So for example, I used to bike for maybe 20 to 30 minutes at a time, but as time's gone on, I really just wanted to keep up my speed on the bike, so I just do those all-out 30-minute races against that Draco Malfoy character. I'm going to beat you one day in that race, but just know that's really all I do. I do it maybe once or twice a week. So it's not that I don't like the bike, it's just I use it for something more specific that I enjoy, and there's going to be something on this app that you are going to like because it just has so many different options with no additional membership cost, and that is awesome for me. Now, I am a bit bummed that it doesn't fit in my closet anymore, but there is a little nice corner of my home office that I keep it in and just out of the way. So it is in sight of everything, which I was trying to keep it out of sight with the rest of my equipment, but unfortunately it does not fit in there. So maybe I'll demo that wall one day and make a small closet that does fit it, but for now it'll sit in that corner where it belongs. But just know, in my old apartment again, it did fit in a tiny little closet. So now that you've seen the RENPHO bike, make sure you check out this video on screen. That is my full body home workout routine. You can do with resistance bands, dumbbells, or your own body weight from the comfort of home. But with that, that is the end of this video. Remember to be fit and game on.